Alright, so we just busted our booster here of our Modern Horizons draft, and lucky enough to get 2 rares. So Deep Forest Hermit, pretty exciting card. We can create 4 squirrel creatures, so we're putting 5 creatures on the battlefield with this. This is, I think, I haven't done that many Modern Horizons drafts yet. The set did just come out, but this is a card that I'm drawn to. The Merit Lage's Slumber allows you to keep scrying, and the 10 or more permanence clause does come up, but it's Firebolt's a nice card, but we're gonna slam this Deep Forest Hermit. This seems like the easy choice. We can even abuse some blink effects, that type of stuff. So yeah, this seems like an easy choice. Ayula's Influence makes bears. Abominable Tree Folk. So this is really good if we go for the snow archetype. Like, really good. It gets absolutely humongous. As I was mentioning earlier in the previous pack, Firebolt's a really just sweet removal spell. Basically a shock with an upside. Or we can just stay green and take the Trumpeting Herd. Making 2 3/3s is pretty good. I mean, and it allows us to stay with the Hermit. So I think I'm going to take the Trumpeting Herd, even though it may not have been the most powerful card in that booster. We're going to go with that. Okay, so the excitement may be drying up a little bit. Neither Treefolk Umbra or the Destroyer Flyer is super exciting. Dreadscape Sliver could be good if we end up with some slivers. Diabolic Edict. I guess the strongest card might be the Dreadscape Sliver. Yeah, not seeing a whole lot here. That's super exciting. Alpine Guide. Yeah, this one is interesting. I think it's pretty good. It allows us to ramp out a land. Do have to attack every single turn, though. But if we're aggressive, you know, maybe just a green-red beatdown deck. Phantom Ninja is fine if we want to go into blue. The Bladeback Sliver is another sliver-ish payoff card. It's not one of the more amazing slivers, but we do already have the Dreadscape Sliver. I guess I'll take the Bladeback Sliver, although, yeah, I might draft some more of this set and realize that was a mispick. But we're gonna take the Bladeback Sliver. Okay, Birthing Buzz. If we want to, this is a really nice way to grind out the game. Savage Swipe are good with our 2-power slivers. Reasonable combat trick in the charm. I mean, the Birthing Buzz is reasonable, so we're gonna take this. It's also good if we end up wanting to go into a sliver deck. It's just a way to create endless slivers. So this is a card I'm pretty interested in trying out. I mean, Winter's Rest, it's surprising to see another one of these, right? This is just like a pretty good removal spell, even though it's not. Like we saw one in the last pack. It's a pretty strong removal spell. Could also just take another Dregscape Sliver. All right, I'm gonna try this. I don't know if we can make the Slivers thing work, but we're kind of already committed a little bit, so we're gonna see where this goes. Although no Slivers here, there is a Witch. So I think that's what I'm gonna take. Okay, Web Weaver Changeling could be good with our Sliver package, just because it's a Changeling that has real value. And Spectre is, I mean, if we end up black-red aggro, Spectre is good because we can dump our hand out and then start getting Hellbent. But I don't know if I want to give up these green cards. And the Changeling is a pretty good card overall. So I'm gonna grab that. Rank Officer is solid. It's not really. I mean, we don't really have besides trying to do the Sliver thing, we don't really have a complete game plan yet. I guess I'll just take the Rank Officer. Yeah. Just a combat trick there, so we're just kind of rounding out this booster. Late Diabolic Edict. We don't have much removal at this point, so this could be something we're looking for. Couple different options here. I kind of like this card because I think I'm saying this right when I say Tornado, but I could be botching that pretty horribly. Oops. Missed that one. We're gonna double up on these mongooses here real quick. All right. So black green, not really a typical color combo. Our rare is Lightning Skelemental. So it's basically like a one hit. You get in a hit with it. You get some damage down. And then it triggers, sacks itself. Pretty interesting card. This pack isn't super exciting. We could take this Druid as just a way to ramp ourselves, especially if we end up being a 3-color deck. I think that's what I want to take. Yeah, we're gonna take the Spring Bloom Druid. Ooh, this is another snow payoff card, Glacial Revelation. Don't think we can take it. Fallen Shinobi. I mean, really strong card. It's just pretty out there. The pack is so bad for us, I kind of want to just take it. So I'm going to. And we may end up veering a bit off course here. Another Trumpeting Herd. Pretty strong card. Conifer Worm. Another snow payoff, but we're not. We didn't really fully commit to the snow theme early, so it's kind of hard to do it now. I'm gonna grab another Herd there. This card is pretty good. Saddled Rhymestag. Ooh, and a Cleaving Sliver. Unfortunately, yeah, the slivers haven't really fully got in there. We also just ended up being in a color combo that doesn't necessarily fully support slivers as much as we would like. So I think I'm going to take this and still try to backdoor into some sort of green-based, creature-style deck. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. That's a sweet card. First Sphere Gargantua. Just a big creature. We could use that as just like a nice top end, because we are kind of looking to be base black-green. Savage Swipe. How many 2-power guys do we have? We definitely have some. But I think I'm going to take the Gargantua. Okay. Nantuko Cultivator is a really nice way to filter out lands from our hand. If we end up having a hand that's pretty flooded, I'm going to start putting some of the cards into the sideboard. Probably not playing the Nimble Mongooses. Also some other good stuff here. Another rank officer, but I'm going to take the Nantuko Cultivator. Ooh, a Tempered Sliver. That's pretty attractive to go along with the Dragscape Slivers we already have. Possibly we'll play the Birthing Bows, but yeah, this is what we wanted to make these other slivers look a lot better. So we're going to take the tempered sliver. Yeah, Icehide Golem. Ended up not seeing too many snowlands. Like, the snowland is already gone from this pack, so they're just not coming super late. Enduring Sliver, if we ended up splashing for some slivers. So I could have taken the Talisman, I guess, too. Maybe should have considered that more seriously. Although it doesn't ramp us to green. Maybe I should have considered that more seriously, but this is fine. This card is okay. Alright, so Snow-Covered Swamp. Maybe we could use this. Fountain as a mana fixer if we want to play the Fallen Shinobi. I think I'd rather have the fixer. We're not really in on the Snowlands. There's a late Frostwalla, but don't think we're going to play it. Nothing here that really looks particularly good. Oh. Alright. Sorry about that. I was contemplating between those two cards, but I guess I did not get the opportunity to pick one. Anyways. Silent Clearing. So that's a sweet new land. If I wanted to just rare draft it. But let's see if there's anything better for us. Unblocked attacking ninjas have lifelink. That's interesting. Don't have a ton of ninjas per se. Honestly, there's not really anything here. Is there? I don't see anything that... that really, like, I guess another witch, but we already have one. Our 3-drops are kind of clumped. We could end up wanting to splash a white card, I guess, off of this. And it's just a sweet new land, so I'll take it. Maybe it's worth playing just as, you know, a way to use our mana later in the game. And here's another, well, this is second pick, huh? Ren and 6. I mean, this is got to be in the running for the top card in the set as far as constructed goes. Now, we might be able to splash it. The tempered sliver looks appealing also, but I'm not gonna give up the option to take a planeswalker here. We could also play both of these together. We could sack. I mean, I guess they're two completely different colors. What does this thing do? Yeah. Okay. It's probably not taking that. Talisman. Okay, so there's a mob as a removal spell. Probably want a removal spell at this point. We don't have any. Another Tempered Sliver. So that could go with our Dregscape Slivers. If we're able to force these through and start to get value off of the sliver. But like, we've got this mini sliver thing going. It's not fully there. There's not that many slivers in green and black, but we do have some of them. Universal Automaton is interesting. If we're able to just like aggressively start using our, like, play a Tempered Sliver, get in with an Automaton. Could be a way to steal games. Another Bladeback Sliver. But we do have to be kind of worried about our mana. I guess I'll take the Automaton. Speculate on that one. Springbloom Druid is good. So is Mother Bear. But the Druid allows us to sack a land and search for 2 basics, which allows us to splash much more easily. Yeah, so I think we want the Druid. That's just... There's also a mob. I didn't even mention mob, but I want the Druid to be able to kind of allow us to do some really sweet stuff. Oh, man. Wow, that is tempting. The first sliver. I mean, we're already... We can maybe play it. I'm going to take it. I mean, we're taking it. We're going to see what happens. I know this is late in pack 3. Another Changeling. So we're backdooring into something is what it feels like. What that actually is, not sure. Snow-covered island. Nothing really here for us. Wow, I think this card is pretty good. It seems kind of late for it. Sure, I'll take the Talisman. I guess Bellowing Elk, if we want to get aggressive, is better, but also the Umazawa's Charm, just a solid removal spell. We have a lot of cards that we're gonna now have to. I'm gonna kind of decide how this deck is gonna be built. So we can go a couple different ways with it. We can go for just like the traditional like black-green style beatdown deck, which is not necessarily the most exciting option that's available. We also did pick up these slivers. the Wrenn and 6. We're not playing the Weather the Storms. Saddle Rhymestag, for sure that's going to be in. This card, if we have 2 slivers in the graveyard, we can use it to get something back, which is kind of sweet. Yeah, the Frost Swallows, we are not gonna play those. All right. Well, the problem with the first sliver is that, well, actually, I was gonna say that the problem is that our slivers are so cheap, but like this is pretty good with the Web Weaver Changelings if we're able to play the first sliver and then start kind of going off with it. I do want to play the Wrenn and 6 and the Bladeback Sliver. The Wrenn and 6 goes pretty well with the Springbloom Druids because if we can sack a land and then plus this, and then it's just like a decent removal spell. It's not like, I don't think it's like a bomb here, but it's definitely worth playing. So we could play the Talisman. We have like a bunch of stuff that we could splash the first sliver as well and play the Fallen Shinobi. In fact, I think I want to play one island and play this because we have the 2 Spring Blooms already. Still don't know. This card might be too greedy, even though the idea of casting it is really intriguing. Don't think we're playing Rank Officer. The Nantugo Cultivator is probably like a better loot type effect for this deck. All right. Well, we could try it. But the problem is if we play the first sliver, I just don't know what we're supposed to cut from this. The Witch is medium, so maybe we can cut that. Return from Extinction. The problem with playing this is if we play a bunch of basic forests, then like it's pretty unlikely we're just gonna have one of each until like really late in the game. I think I'm not gonna play this. It's a super sweet card. I'm close to playing it, but in the end, I just don't think it's correct. We're still gonna be a 4-color deck. We're gonna play Wrenn and 6. We're gonna play Fallen Shinobi, and I think the Bladeback Sliver is good because if we're able to empty our whole hand, we can start pinging, and then our slivers start growing also. Although I guess no, this is only combat damage. For some reason, I was thinking Tempered Steel was not combat damage. So this is not actually a combo. Tempered Steel plus Bladeback Sliver. I mean, this is still a sliver, and we can still use like. But we're probably only playing one mountain for the Wrenn and 6, so maybe splashing for a Grizzly Bear type card is not necessarily the best. So I'm gonna make this a kind of an in-between version. Like it's not the most exciting way this deck could have been built, but it's also like it's got a lot of sweet stuff going on with it. This seems like a pretty good way to win a late game. The question is, do we do we for sure want it in the main deck? Because if our opponent's also aggressive, then this could be this could end up just being too slow. And we also have to think how many lands we want to play. We have one fountain, 2 druids. This talisman allows us to splash for both of our off colors, for a red and a blue. So I think I'm not going to play the fountain, but I am going to play the talisman because the talisman is a 2-drop, and we already have some 3s, and I might want to get the Ward Eye Witch back in there as just another like reasonable 3-mana creature. We're probably at 17 lands. This card is also okay, by the way, Treefolk Umbra. It's not good against bounce, but it can allow us to get some of our slivers through, which is pretty valuable. And I guess we want the sign and clean. We're gonna play this. We're definitely gonna play this land, even if we're not playing the white, because it's insane with the Ren and 6. We can just draw a bunch of cards. Ren and 6 is also good with our cultivators. It's just a really strong card in this deck, I think. So, alright, we're actually... I know this has taken a while, by the way, but we're about where we need to be to actually submit the deck here. So... Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add some lands to this. This is with 17. We're going to add the Silent Clearing is going to be one island, 1 mountain. I think we want... Well, we definitely want a lot of forests. 10 seems like a lot, though. We're going to play 9-5. And yep, this is gonna be the deck. Looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And who knows, we may find ourselves wanting to utilize the sideboard and maybe go a little bit deep in terms of that. But we're gonna submit this for our first game. All right, so we won the roll. We are gonna be on the play, and weird mana base. We're gonna keep the hand, but would definitely like to have double green for the Trumpeting Herd. We're playing 9 green sources, plus we've got the Searchers. Okay, our opponent's on Carrion Feeder. Interesting. So, we don't have a 2-drop sliver, but the Tempered Sliver itself is still a reasonable threat if we're able to get it through. And that is kind of an if at this point. Carrion Feeder plus Persist Creature. It's pretty good. Although I do have to wonder what our opponent's mana situation is going to be here. We're probably hoping that they don't have a 3rd land, because they played the Frostwalk Bastion for their 2nd land. We'll have to see how this goes. Alright, so they do have a 3rd land, and it looks like we're just going to be taking the 1. That's fine. Not gonna block, and then our opponent gets to sack. Drew another sliver. But I think I'm just going to play out the Bellowing Elk for right now. I really want to get this Fallen Shinobi down at a good time. Unfortunately, the Tempered Slivers are not that good if our opponent has an aggressive draw. And they can flash this back, so that's pretty bad news. Well, our opponent's draw has been really impressive. I mean, we can just hardcast this. We don't have to ninjutsu it. Probably best to just play it, huh? Yeah, this is a really... Smiting Helix is a really strong Mardu card. If you can cast it, just being able to deal 3 to something and gain... It's basically Lightning Helix with flashback. Still don't think we're blocking the Carrion Feeder. Like, yeah, it just doesn't seem like a good decision to block. Alright, so our opponent's kind of going wide here. And our mana's awkward. Yeah, our mana's pretty awkward. We do have this Elvish Fury. Not having it 2 green this game is really annoying. So I guess I'm going to... I am going to cast this because we just have to save our guy, our Shinobi, but then the opponent gets to make their Carrion Feeder significantly bigger. If we had another green, we could also save our sliver. We can buy it back, which could come up. Sorry, unearth it. Why did I say buy it back? I mean, we can unearth the tempered sliver. Well, that's not great news. I guess we can hold the Shinobi on defense. And just play our slivers. The Death Touch Changeling, like our creatures really want to have evasion. Unfortunately, we just can't give them evasion. It's a strong card. We do have one of those, I believe, in our deck. The good news is the carrion feeder is staying home. Maybe I should have. You know what? I think I should have kept the swamp in our hand earlier. That was bad. To have a land to pitch to the cultivator. Yeah, that was just a mistake. So we could try to force through an attack with our slivers. I mean, we can just Elvish Fury, right? It's not great, but it's also not the worst. Or we can bash with everything. So if we just attack with one, we would Fury. I guess I'll just pass and we'll just see what our opponent's got at this point. Oh, wow. So this thing is a 6/6 zombie. And it pumps the other zombies. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Our opponent's smartly not attacking. Now we did draw a swamp. So I think I want to go ahead and cultivator that away. Wow. That is rough. Well, this doesn't seem like the matchup that we really wanted. A bunch of persistent death touch dudes. So this carrion feeder is starting to get kind of out of hand. I'm just gonna throw a bunch of dudes in front of it, see what happens. They're gonna, I guess, get rid of our slivers, which is sad. Looks like we're probably dead here. So we can start making 3/3s. But yeah, no, we're dead. We're dead. I kind of want to go bigger after board. All right. Yeah, why not? It's worth a try. I'm gonna board in the first sliver. And we're gonna add a plains to be able to cast it more easily. Not gonna cut one of the swamps. It gives us an additional late game punch that we were definitely lacking there. And it also, like, makes these slivers a little bit better. Do need to cut a card for it. I guess we may also want this thing. The Birthing Bows or the Fountain of Icar is the other card I was thinking about. So we could go down to 16 lands, which is a little bit dangerous, but we have a bunch of ramp. And this card is another possible card. Maybe we can just cut one cultivator. Drawing 2 of that card is pretty awkward. Yeah, we're gonna go for this grindy approach. Could even there's even more. There's additional cards here that I could potentially theoretically bring in as well. Like the blade. If we're bringing the bows, then maybe the at that point the blade back sliver becomes worth it. But then it's hard to know exactly what we're cutting. I guess I'm gonna try this. Try this transformational plan because this matchup just doesn't seem particularly good. At least from that last game. I'm gonna keep this. I mean, the sliver definitely looks awkward in the hand, but if we get into a situation like we did last game, we would really want it to be able to start pinging our opponent down. Because like when our slivers, at the point where we're not able to start getting in, we need a way to close the game out because our opponent has a lot of defensive creatures. Just kind of it's kind of awkward drawing these basics and not drawing, like we have multiple ramp 3 mana ramp cards that we would like to have. Alright, well, I guess I can't complain too much about that because next turn we can start kind of getting going. But unfortunately, no turn 3 play is a bit of a setback. Okay, but our opponent also has no play there. Silent clearing, pretty reasonable draw. So we're going to go for this attack for 4. We're going to get the rebound next turn. So if our opponent is just taking the 4, like this 2-drop, the Saddle Rhyme stack is really powerful. Just a really powerful card in these green decks. And this does give us our black mana, even if it's at a cost. And I'm not really sure what our opponent is doing. I'll play this silent clearing to allow us to have the mob available to us in case we want to use it. It's possible that they just have a bad draw, of course. So I'm just going to play the Spring Bloom Druid. And, alright. Well, very different game there, clearly. I mean, our opponent just had a bad draw. Like, it's possible that in the first game we would have won, you know, if our opponent had that same draw that they just had. So, what else to consider here? I'm interested in the Treefolk Umbra based on what we've seen so far. Maybe this maybe we don't need the blade back sliver and can still play the first sliver. We do have these 2 Spring Bloom Druids that make it easier to get the first sliver out. We did see 1 flyer in the first game, but I'm not sure if that's enough to warrant this removal spell. The Birthing Bows on the draw is questionable, but I want to try it, so we're gonna go with this. Uh-oh. Time to mulligan. Yeah, this is when the deck just looks bad. Like, this 6 is not great. I guess, like, it's only 2 colors. We are playing the full 5. It's only 2 colors. Guess I'll keep. Just because we're on 6 and we have, like, some looting effects, we have some ramp stuff that could get us out of this, but at the moment, it's looking pretty bad. Alright, Dragscape Sliver, solid 2. Our opponent, I mean, they could be mana screwed too. They're leading on Swamp. So if they just have all swamps, you know, that's potentially good news. Alright. Well, if we're able to draw, there's a few cards we can draw to make this Ren and 6 good. It looks like they do have a bunch of swamps. Oh, this is painful. It's funny, but it's painful at the same time. I mean, I could block and Fury. I don't even have to Fury. I can just block and trade, or just not block and just play this. I'm just gonna block. We don't really want to Fury it because then our opponent just sacks it to the feeder anyway. But yeah, this is not where we want to be at all. But I'm just going to play out the Webweaver Changeling. I mean, if our opponent doesn't have anything, I mean, they haven't presented any clock. We have draws that can get us out of this in our deck. So we actually found Ren and 6. I mean, we found Mountain, sorry. We found Mountain so we can play Ren and 6, is what I meant to say. So I'm going to cast it here, and I think we want to to minus and just go ahead and ping this carrion feeder away. And our opponent had the option there to, I guess, sacrifice the death touch changeling response. Opted not to. Alright, so they're going to get this unearth in and probably go after the Ren and 6. So I'm just going to... Well, we want to keep our Ren and 6 around if possible. May not be possible, we'll see. Alright, so they're just gonna pump their guy, but still, we still traded, I guess, only 2 cards in the end, plus an unearth. But that's still, you know, not bad for Ren and 6. I think even though this white does get it, the white gets us closer to the first sliver. But I think we're just looking for action. This would have been really good previously with the Ren and 6. We could have just started going off with it. I'm just gonna cast this with buyback and bash for some damages. I guess our opponent still has 5 cards in hand, so they're still mana screwed. That's just going to be for no value? No. For... Oh, Dead of Winter. Okay. Sure. Alright, well I guess now we're once again 1 mana away from the first sliver, which... Yeah, you could say maybe I wasn't supposed to sack the silent clearing, but that's kind of results oriented. And we're still pretty likely to, you know, eventually find the lands to cast the first sliver. I maybe should have played a land just to be able to have the Fury with buyback available. Although I could activate this and trade, but I'm not going to. Because we might need that. The mana from that. Okay, so here's the Druid, right? That was what we were kind of looking for. So we can get our island and plains now. Which sets us up for the first sliver next turn. So yeah, this is kind of the situation we were envisioning when boarding this in. It's just this clunky board. So we're going to cast this thing. Let's do it. For the first sliver. Okay. So we're going to get our druid down. Play a land. And I guess this is just a stalled out board again. Unfortunately. Would love to have something we could do, but there really isn't much. Like, they still have the death touch, that death touch, yeah, it's just a stalled out board. I mean, the good news is we don't have many lands left in our deck. Alright, that's bad news. So that can, if our opponent's hellbent, that can start making us discard our cards. I'm going to cast this Bellowing Elk. I mean, there's still, unfortunately, are not really good attacks. Trust me, I wish there were. Just not seeing them. I guess we can start using the Elvish Fury more aggressively. We do have 11 lands. Yeah, maybe that's bad. Maybe I should be attacking more aggressively here. Like, if I was attacking with a Spring Bloom Druid, maybe that would have been a good idea. Although now our opponent has a 7/7 on defense. Fallen Shinobi. Well, this is where things get pretty interesting. We really want to be able to deal some damage to our opponent without looking too desperate to do so. I guess I'm just gonna attack with everything and hope something goes unblocked. I guess I could have also activated. I could have forced this and activated the artifact. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. Kind of hoping. I'm hoping this goes well somehow, despite it looking like it's gonna go poorly. If our opponent correctly blocks everything, then I guess we're in a bad spot. So maybe I should have activated the fountain. But they might just not be. They did see the Fallen Shinobi earlier, but they might not be thinking about it. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna be able to ninjutsu this in. So we get to return this. Unfortunately, the first sliver looks like it's gonna die. So yeah, that means that we're not gonna get the changeling trigger again. But what we can do is we can go ahead and pump up. We can pump up this 4/4. So to try to kill, we're just gonna try to kill the flyer. And yep. This is all going to happen. Our opponent's going to get some scries. Okay, so this is the bad news, I guess. So our opponent gets to scry. So they should keep... If they have lands, they should keep them on top because we're getting the Fallen Shinobi. I wasn't even thinking about this interaction, but we're getting the Fallen Shinobi trigger after the Witch. But looks like our opponent has left. Okay. Has left these two on top. That's a really interesting decision. Okay. So we're going to cast the Restock the Lab. We only get one of these, so we're getting either the Changeling or the Trumpeting Herd. I mean, the Herd is 2 creatures, but the Changeling also has some value because it's a sliver. So, yeah, I think this is not an obvious decision. I'll take the Herd. And it's also good putting this into the graveyard with the Dregscape Sliver. You can do some stuff with that. As far as this Smiting Helix, we should cast it here. Maybe on just on this Needless Spectre. Probably. Like, our opponent is at 9. We can't kill the Gluttonous Slug. We could kill one of these two. And if they have a mountain, they can flash it back, but I still think it's worth playing. Not sure how much I care about the Spectre. Yeah, I'm just gonna kill the Witch, actually. The Spectre... Oh no, actually, you know, I probably should have killed the Spectre. That was... Because our opponent only has 1 card in hand, and it is a random discard. For some reason, I was thinking it was not random. So if our opponent is able to empty their hand out here, but then we may just kill them. Here's the thing: we may just have lethal on the next turn because we have the Dregscape Sliver in the graveyard. We can just go unearth. We can just go. We can go off with our unearths. We can unearth the sliver. Yeah, this is just insane. We can just potentially go off with our unearthed stuff. So they're gonna return from extinction. They got back Carrion Feeder and Rank Officer, I think. Discarding another Rank Officer, playing the Feeder. So our opponent is going to be able to get in for so the one we don't want to discard really is the Trumpeting Herd. Okay, fine. We just discarded the Herd. So drew a mob. So our opponent has 3 blockers at the moment. I mean, I'm gonna see what happens. I've yet to see what this all means. So we go on Earth. Then we're gonna unearth all of them, right? Unearth the first sliver. Unearth the changeling. So if we kill this, is that just lethal? If we just mob this, only 2 blockers? Yeah. Yeah, we might even have lethal without that. So, yep. And I could even use the Web Weaver changeling to cascade again, but anyways, our opponent's just gonna concede. That was a sweet. All right, so our opponent is on the play and is kept. We're also gonna keep and kick things off. We do have a 2-drop here with our hello Ren and 6. We can play that on turn 2 if we want to. See if our opponent plays a 1 toughness dude, we definitely would. So do I just run it out there? Yeah, I'm gonna see what happens. Take it up to 4. Would of course love a creature that this can just minus and deal 1 damage to. But since Ren and 6 is already in play, it's unlikely our opponent's gonna freely just play out a 1 toughness creature this turn, but we'll see. Alright, so they're going to go for Ward Eye Witch. That makes sense. Can't kill that with a Ren and 6. There's our Deep Forest Hermit. Okay. Unfortunately, we just don't have a way to put lands into our graveyard at the moment. But we're gonna go ahead and make this trade. If our opponent attacks, pretty easy decision. I mean, I guess so. The emblem on Ren and 6 isn't like game breaking, right? We don't have that many instants and sorceries in our graveyard. I mean, in our deck. No cards in our graveyard at the moment, of course. Alright, so Tempered Sliver, that makes me want to get in with the Dregscape Sliver. Yeah, let's do that. But I'm interested to see what happens. Our opponent still has 5 cards in hand. So they're going to get the Scry, assuming that these do trade. The Woodweaver Changeling is, of course, a squirrel. Oh, wow. That's actually pretty insane. But our opponent's probably going to try to kill the Ren and 6 here, right? So this is gonna Ren and 6 is gonna take 4 no matter what. So we could keep it in play at 2 in exchange for our sliver. I think I'm just gonna let it go. Yeah, we're just gonna let Ren and 6 go. It wasn't that impressive this game, but it's traded with a lightning Skelemental, which is another rare, super powerful card. And if our opponent attacks us there, we would have to pitch 2 cards. So, like, we're okay with this. Now, they may just play 1 Toughness Dude that they've been holding because of Ren and 6. Oh, wow. Wow, that's insane. I didn't even realize that's how that works. So they're doing this after attacks. That is an incredible sequence. I wasn't even thinking about that. Well, that is really bad for us. Yeah, that was just a huge blowout. Like huge blowout. I don't even know what to say. I should have blocked. Obviously, well, I mean, results-oriented thinking. I just wasn't thinking about that interaction. But it's a pretty absurd interaction with ninjutsu, and yeah. I mean, props off. Props to our opponent, I should say, for finding that play with the smoke shaper there. And now we're in a bit of a pickle. You know, our Ren and 6 is gone. We know that our opponent still has this Skelemental, which they're going to play. Get in there with. And we're just not going to block. It's going to force us to pitch 2 cards, so I'm just going to keep the Deep Forest Hermit. But our opponent still has 4 cards in hand. We can unearth the first sphere, Gargantua. Oh, yeah. Changeling is good here. That's strong. I don't know that this is the time for the Deep Forest Hermit or not. Our opponent having a 3/3 and a 1/3 is pretty annoying. I'm just going to go for right now with the first sphere, Gargantua, and get in there with that. So it looks like our opponent is just straight black-red. Interesting attack here. I think we just block and see what happens. Okay. Alright, so the elemental is going to come down. That makes sense. I guess we play out the Deep Forest Hermit. It's just not that great on this board. But seems like we do just have to kind of fire it in there. So we have a bunch of 2/2s, but our opponent has two 3 toughness creatures. And multiple cards in hand. And eventually this is going to go away, and these squirrels are going to become a little bit less threatening. Okay. Well, that's a pretty aggressive attack. I'm just going to throw some squirrels at this and see what happens. Like, if they kill this... Yeah, I think blocking with 3 squirrels makes sense. I'm fine with trading 2 for the elemental. And it looks like our opponent does have a trick. They're just kind of deciding now what to do with it. The last thing I wanted to do here was to get ninjutsu'd on, right? So that's part of the reasoning for this block too. Now it's interesting the interactions with the lands in this set. Like, you've got Barrenmore, which is really nice with the elemental. I'm really wishing now that we had gotten a cycle land. Oh yeah, this guy has flash. Yeah, that's good. Really strong creature there. That's gonna kill our hermit and just leave the triple block in place here. We're still gonna get that trade. So it's gonna... Okay, no follow-up for our opponent. Unfortunately, though, we just don't have anything. Nothing really going on. Rank officer. Alright, so we're going to get another clogged board, but I guess the rank officer can start draining for some value. Springbloom Druid. Would have been good earlier with Ren and 6 when we had that in play on turn 2. This seems like a pretty kind of a similar matchup to our first round, so there's a decent chance that I board in a similar fashion. I mean, what we did was kind of disgusting in the last round, and the clog boards with venomous changelings, and yeah, like the changeling is holding back our entire offense at this point. Oh, God. Yep. So we're gonna start getting rank officered. Well, that's an interesting attack. Just gonna throw a bunch of creatures on it. I mean, I think we want to try to get rid of it. Those changelings are super annoying for us. Interesting draw step for sure. So we wanna attack. The question is with what? I guess I'll just attack with a sliver. Buy back this Elvish Fury. Try to get rid of the Changeling. So it looks like our opponent might have something. No. Just gonna let it happen. We are at 9. So we're fairly low. I guess we unearth. We get this trigger. Off the Changeling, which is super good. Just gonna bash with everything. Hold up this Elvish Fury. If our opponent has a trick, we're just gonna make them use it right here. Mob, okay. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Because we also lose our Elvish Fury because there was no target for the spell. Yeah, that's bad. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Part 1. I guess I can play this thing out there. And now our opponent's going to go back to the rank officer plan, I would guess. So yeah, all of their creatures seem to be pretty bad. So I'm going to keep that in mind when sideboarding for sure. Alright, did they find lethal? No, what was that? They played that. Okay, interesting. So we can kill the rank officer now. But then we're potentially taking lethal. I guess what I want to do is bring back the slivers. And just keep the changeling back. The Umezawa's charm can get rid of the rank officer. So these become 4/4s, but they're gonna go away. So yeah, we're just gonna deal with the rank officer. So we're not just dead on board. But at the same time, we don't have that many draws that can get us out of this. So yeah, our opponent's just gonna bash in. It looks like they're bashing in. Trying to think if we do have outs, if there's any card we can draw in this spot. Yeah. So I think that game might have been decided early on with that ninjutsu play that I missed. Didn't anticipate happening, and that, yeah, our opponent played pretty well there. So we're gonna sideboard out the some of the lesser creatures, I guess you could say. I don't think we want this pump. The pump effects don't seem as good. We're going to board in the first sliver. And we're going to board in a similar package. Like, maybe I should have just main decked this. I'm not sure. But water under the bridge now. I'm going to board similarly to how I did in the previous round. Now, I think we want the bows and the blade back sliver is the blade back sliver is still the one that I question a little bit. Yeah, I don't think we're boarding that one in still. Let's see. Treefolk Umbra. That one's okay. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna go like this. This worked out in a pretty similar matchup in the previous round. Wow. So there's no forest in this hand. Now we do have a bunch of green sources in our deck. And if we draw one forest, we can then play the cultivator. I guess I'm gonna keep this. I tend to keep more hands than most people, and the problem with our deck as it's constructed right now is we need so many different things to go right for us. Like gambling that we're going to hit one green source I think that's like a reasonable thing to do. Now, yeah, so we just need to draw a green source. We have 9 in our deck. 8 forests, and then the 3 mana artifact, I believe, at this point. So bricks so far. If we had drawn it there, we would have been in an amazing shape. We could just play the Spring Bloom Druid. Start ramping. And I don't think our opponent's winning from that point. Alright, well, mana screw. It's part of the game. Now, here's the thing, though. If the London Mulligan rule was in place, maybe I would have actually mulled this. Because this was a close one. Like, I do believe it was a keep, but it was close. And, like, maybe in a few weeks, this hand probably becomes a mulligan, you know? And it looks like our opponent just has nothing really that incredible going on, but it appears to be good enough. We finally found our forest. But at this point, it's almost certainly too late. I guess we could draw into the first sliver, so I'll get, you know, I'll get all 5 basics out of our deck. All right, so yeah, that's actually really strong because it pumps the changelings. Like, the changeling outcast is now just crazy good. We could block the rank officer, but nah, I mean, the cleaving sliver. I mean, our opponent's deck is good. All right, well, I guess I'll play Ren in 6 and kill the outcast. Wow. Yeah, this was our opponent's draw ended up actually being better than I thought. So we're just dead. All right, so we're on the draw. And our opponent mulligan. Yeah, this is reasonable. We have a turn 3 druid. Or a sliver if we want to do that. And ramping with our deck on turn 3 feels pretty good. Like, we can play the Gargantua a turn earlier. The other option is just playing the sliver, which our opponent doesn't have a creature on the board yet. So it's a pretty attractive option. I guess I'll do that. Like, if we actually start... Like, the Tempered Slivers, I think I overvalued them a little bit during the draft, because in this particular deck, it's kind of hard to actually just hit the opponent, but if our opponent doesn't have any creatures in play, I have no idea what's in their hand, but this seems like a good position to be in. So we're just gonna go on the beatdown plan, which is kind of what our game 1 deck is designed to do. All right, so now they're gonna deal with the sliver. That's okay. I mean, the trading a tempered sliver for settle beyond reality, I'll take that, you know, all day. And we got in 2 damage with it as well. Ooh, yeah. Okay, this is what we wanted to have happen. So we're gonna get to sack land, and now we're gonna go ahead and search up the mountain and the islands. So we now have the red that we need for the Wrenn and 6. We can get back the forest even. So we're even kind of doing it all in a sense. Okay. So another play we can make, and we probably should just play the Gargantuan here. Yeah, I think that's better than just jamming the Wrenn and 6. We could even get in with the Springbloom Druid and just Fury, but I'm not going to do that because the Fury's been pretty good as just a buyback late game way to kind of close out some damage, and our opponent's just going to concede there. I don't necessarily blame them for the scoop. Alright, we're going to do this again because why not? It's fun. And we're gonna bring in the first sliver. And bring in the fountain as well. Change our mana a little bit. Cut the Umezawa's Charm because we didn't really see. Yeah, it's a medium card overall. It's not like a card we for sure need. Don't know about this. I guess destroying a flyer could be good against our opponent's deck, but we don't really know that. We didn't see enough of their deck to be sure. The Rank Officer is fine, by the way. I'm not playing this in the main, but it is a fine card. The reason why is because we have the Cultivators, which, as I mentioned earlier, I think they're better, but... yeah, I'm just going to go with this. Didn't see enough of our opponent's deck to be sure how to sideboard, but the first sliver... oh my god. Here it is. So we're close. We're close to casting it. We just need 2 more colors. Got our Talisman that we main deck the Talisman, right? But anyways, we have the Talisman plus the first sliver Plus the cultivator, like in this type of draw is pretty medium. But if we're able to turn 3 a trumpeting herd, that is nice right there. If we're able to do that, so we've got a lot of really good draws here. Definitely going to keep the hand, unquestionably. Okay. Yeah, this card is really strong. Okay, so so we drew both of these cards, which we sided in together, kind of planning for this exact scenario. So if we're able to go the first sliver into the Web Weaver Changeling, that would be really nice. But we do need to draw more mana from here, like either a land, another ramp spell, something like that. Luckily, our opponent's not pressuring us, and there's a land. That's perfect. So we're just gonna be no big dealing. Turn, what is this gonna be? Turn 4, the first sliver. No big deal or anything. Sure. So I guess we don't know what we're going to cascade into. But who am I kidding? We're casting it. We are casting it. Bang. Let's see what we get. Hopefully it's a, like a creature would be good. Our opponent might just concede. They might just be like, I'm done. I can't take this. The first sliver turn 4 is just like too unrealistic. Too unreasonable. And we have more slivers. We have more slivers in hand to go with it. It's just funny that this card has won us, like, potentially it's winning us this game, right? It won us the first match, and it was a card that I initially had in the sideboard, which now that I boarded it in each round, probably that was just completely wrong to have this in the sideboard. Because the format is just much grindier than I first anticipated it being. Like, a card like the first sliver, like, this is not necessarily that realistic, being able to turn for it, but, like, the card is, like, the other match where we played it, the game dragged on, and then with some of our other slivers, it became a way to break the game open. All right, here it is. Wow. We found a Spring Bloom Druid. Yeah, that is pretty gross. I mean, that's a good find. Like, it'll, because we don't actually, we have all spells in hand, right? We want more lands. So the Druid is a good find. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and sacrifice the forest. And just get 2 more forests. And pass back to our opponent. Now they do have the Giver of Runes. So hopefully that they don't just immediately deal with the first sliver. Because if they don't, we can then continue on with this game plan with the Web Weaver Changeling on the next turn. But we know that they have the 5 mana exile removal spell in their deck. We also have a mob. Okay. Yep. So first sliver is now down. Well, we can play the Rhine. We can play Rhymestag and Herd. So I think that's the plan here. We're gonna look for that opportunity to connect with Fallen Shinobi. And luckily we're not, you know, we're still at a nice high life total. So we're not in the danger zone in any way. We're gonna have time to deploy most of this stuff most likely in our hand. Okay, so this is a 3/3 double striker. That's pretty good. So I guess we can just put the 3/3 in front of this. Doesn't seem unreasonable to me. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Okay. Yeah, so the elephant's still in play. Mob is an interesting draw. I guess this is the Giver of Runes is another target creature. So we could just mob that away. The Giver itself. I kind of like that idea because this thing is so annoying. It's so good at protecting our opponent's stuff. So I'm just gonna mob it. Although I guess I wasn't even thinking about, we can convoke. So maybe I should do this during the opponent's turn. Might be better because we can actually play something for turn. Like this tempered sliver, for instance. Yeah, I'm gonna put the tempered sliver into play. I like that. We're not attacking either way because this thing is just, this card is really good. The Valiant Changeling. And the key thing that differs Giver of Runes from Mother of Runes is that it is another, so you can just use a removal spell on the Giver. Our opponent's still just bashing. So we could, I think we can afford to take this hit from the Changeling. I'm going to put the 2 elephants in front of the veteran. Because I kind of want to just see what our opponent does. They can give it pro green, but if they do that, we can now get rid of the Changeling, right? With the mob. So this actually just completely changes my original plan. I am gonna do that. We're just gonna mob this. They might have... Oh. Ugh. That's pretty sick. I've been gotten by this card not once now, but twice, huh? Well, it's honestly not the end of the world, because at least that thing is in their hand, but definitely not what we wanted to have happen there. But now at least we get to Fallen Shinobi. I guess I could have gotten in with the Tempered Sliver and then return that with the Shinobi. Maybe that is better than returning the Spring Bloom Druid. But we do get to replay the replay the Druid here and get the ETB value off of that. Okay. So we got Force of Despair. That does... We definitely don't want to cast that, right? Yeah, we're definitely not casting that. We'll cast the Rocks Veteran and the Springbloom Druid. Get some lands out of our deck. Hall of Heliod's Generosity. So our opponent has some sort of combo, something going on with that, I guess. So we can just pitch the forest to the cultivator, or wait and try to get a little bit greedier to find another land to pitch. So what happens if we were to just bash with everything? The Fallen Shinobi gets blocked. So let's see. Giver of Runes blocks Tempered Sliver. Probably the Sphere blocks the Shinobi. 3/3 blocks 3/3. Yeah. Well, we can also activate the fountain, I guess. All right. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play. No, because we don't. Yeah, we have enough mana to play this cultivator to see what we draw, right? So I'm gonna play the cultivator first. Pitch the forest. So we're going to pitch the forest. If we activate the Fountain of Ichor, we have... Our opponent has 4 blockers. They can block Shinobi. I think it's still good for us to make this attack. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Force our opponent into a little bit of a tough spot. Oh yeah, and I forgot about the tap. So is this lethal? I forgot about the tap from the veteran. What happens if we just tap the Giver of Ruins? Is this just a lethal attack? They can block. Yeah, it is, right? No, yeah, they can block. Yeah, we're just gonna tap this because they can't get protection from. They can activate this, but then I think this is just lethal. With once you include the battle cry. Yeah, sorry if I'm a little bit... I don't think I played this game the best, but I also haven't done that many drafts of this format. It feels really sweet. I know I'm going to... You know, all of these little nuances, I'm going to start picking up on them more as I do more drafts. But... Yeah, so this was lethal. We didn't have to play the cultivator pre-combat. It was just a dead on board. But one thing I need to be thinking about more is ninjutsu. Ninjutsu's come up a lot, both in our favor and in the game where earlier we were attacking. We made a big attack and we were able to put in the Fallen Shinobi because of ninjutsu that might have won us that game. So yeah, here our opponent's taking 2, 3. Yeah, it's just lethal. This is just lethal. Math. And 2-1. Thanks for watching, everyone.